Hey everybody, welcome to Two Fools on Stools. We're joined by a third fool. Of course, we're on the Garage Bar Radio Network and brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings, Beer Wings, Sports. You have to be here. And we're excited because you may not see it, but we got a bruiser with us. What's up, brother? We appreciate you making the trip out this way.
Thanks for having me, man. It's good to be here.
Where's home at for you now? Did you have to come far away to make it all the way out here to our quaint village of Frederick, or how did that work out for you?
Yeah, I just came from Annapolis, so it was about an hour and a half, I guess.
I'll be in Annapolis tomorrow. I'm testifying up there about medical cannabis for vets, so we'll be going back there.
Well, this is for like an official thing. This isn't just testifying on the streets.
Yeah, I'm not slinging it on the street.
Okay. All right.
So
Thanks
it ends up going on that deal.
So what do you got going on out in Annapolis? Talk to us a little bit about the academy out there.
Oh, yeah, man. So Team Randori is out in Annapolis, mixed martial arts gym, and I just partnered up there with Al Hogan, and so we're running that, and we're trying to have a record-breaking year this year. We have a great programs, MMA, BJJ, fitness stuff, all the above. So we're looking forward to doing some great things in Annapolis.
Yeah, are you focusing on one particular aspect of the school's curriculum, or are you helping basically run the whole deal? What is your involvement with it?
Yeah, pretty much the whole deal. So I lead the striking, the PDS program.
Okay.
But then past that, Al and I, we're running the business together as a whole. So
awesome.
Of course, I'm not the BJJ black belt. So
No. Hang on.
Let's make that.
They put the bruiser out in front of the crowds. All right, when you're trying to sell your program, you want to have those pearly whites talking. I mean, I'm sure you're in a similar position to me. You got to go out to the malls. You got to get the kids involved, get the women involved, get the guys who want to follow their own dreams out there. So I'm sure you're going out there and buttering people up. You get them to
shake your hands,
gotta get some butter on the toast.
Good.
Some butter on the toast.
Can't go wrong with that at all. So how long have you been doing this? Is this a new transition for you, or have you been out there for a little while now?
Yeah, this is new. I started running their MMA program, I guess about 2 or 3 months ago. And we just sealed the deal in partnership literally just within the last week. So
congratulations! They've been open for a year, 2 years.
Going on the 3rd year now.
Okay, awesome.
So
awesome.
open
Time
2 years,
flies.
going on the 3rd year. Yeah, right.
I remember going to the local shish kebab place and having lunch with them right after they had opened up. So
that was
outside of powwow get together.
Outside of Noel Smith's place. So before we get into kind of the bigger scene, tell us what you got on the horizon for you. Anything in your competitive future?
Oh, yeah, man. Shogun fights April 8th.
What? Shogun fights?
Yeah, Bruiser gets back in the cage, man. So I'm excited. It's a rematch, man. On Strikeforce, I fought Jason Brown. And, great contender, man. We battled it out. I think
Strikeforce. I think you mean Strike Off.
Strike Off. Yeah, there you go. Strike Off. You're right.
I wanted to show some love to Rob McCraw.
They roll together, man.
Hey, sorry, Rob. My bad, man. Well, I know what it's called. My fault.
Yeah. I just wanted to show I had some knowledge of the local scene. But so you had a great fight with Jason Brown.
It was a good fight, man. And they came back and asked if I'd take a rematch against them.
What do you think the logic in booking that rematch was? Do you think it was something that he wanted? Is it something you were calling for? Talk to us.
Well, I wasn't personally calling for it. Rollo gave me a call and said, "Hey, man, would you fight Jason Brown?
Would you want to run it back?"
Yeah, and I said, well, I did.
I don't know if you knew this, if you took notes or not, but we've done this.
Wait, are you saying that Jason Brown was actually Jason Black and Blue after his fight with you? Did he go by a different name?
I mean, he asked me, and I'm always down to throw down, man. Yeah. It's like I said, it was a guy. I mean, he almost caught me with the leg lock. It was pretty slick, and I was able to get out of it. And then second round, the doctor stopped it. So it was a good fight. It could have went either way. It just happened to go my way. So I know this time he's going to come back with the vengeance.
Yeah.
And so we'll both be putting in work, and we'll both bang, man. It should be a good fight.
All right, man. Well, we got 2 Aarons out there and Nick asking for shout-outs. Good to see you guys out there tuning in. If you didn't catch it already, this new person, the Bruiser, Dameron Kirby, he's a local pro fighter. He's going to be fighting in Baltimore April 8th. So we wanted to have him, some of his opinions. Now, big questions we got this past week. In the biggest action we've had in a long time, the bad boy versus the bad guy. Danny, did you get to watch this one?
I didn't get to catch it live. I did get to catch the reruns because this was the type of fight card that I wasn't going to even pay for free to watch.
The cost is the commercials.
And I have this important aspect of my life that I do every single solitary 24-hour cycle, and that's called go to fuck sleep. And, if you're going to keep me up to the wee hours in the morning, I better believe there's going to be some shit. And the reality was when you looked at what Chael looked like when we were looking at the pre-fight videos and what have you, I found it kind of funny that he joked about it's almost 100% natural.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, Chael, it looked 100% natural for you.
He said that's basically clean.
Yeah. Which kudos to him for having the wherewithal to joke about that. And listen, I like Chael. I think he did a lot for the sport. I know some people disagree with me on that, and that's fine. But the reality was he did not look like he took that fight seriously. And there's a million reasons. Listen, first of all, we shared it out on the podcast, on the Facebook page. He lost his daughter not long ago. I couldn't even begin to imagine that. But for him to be able to, come back, keep the jokes to himself, keep his old demeanor and come out there and do a fight, I thought that was amazing. But again, it goes back to what I said time and time again, is that Bellator, I don't think they can survive on this. I really, in my heart of hearts, I know people are going to go, well, they're doing pay-per-view. And he said, I haven't had a chance to see if those numbers checked out, that this was their best pay-per-view that they would have.
It's the third biggest pay-per-view. The sad thing is, you're making the argument about the quality of fights, but the bigger fights are Kimbo Slice. I mean, I think it was Tito Ortiz versus Stephan Bonner. So Bellator is putting together fights that aren't the cream of the crop. When they have Ben Henderson, who's probably one of their best fighters when they brought him in.
And he can't win.
Oh, he can't win, but he's not moving the pay-per-views. It's the Huntington Beach bad boy and Kimbo Slice. Now, Tito's retiring and Kimbo, rest in peace. Maybe this direction's not sustainable, but you don't think there's a...
I don't think it's sustainable, and I think when you look at that fight, there are more than just a handful of people that say that fucking fight was fixed.
Yeah, I know we got called out to give our take on that by Matt Bugby. Now, Dameron, you're the one who's fought in the cage most recently. Did you think that looked like there was something suspect going on, or did it look completely legit?
I don't know, man. I'd hope not. Because that completely just the sport in itself, it just brings back bad characters to the sport. So I really hope not. I think it had more to do with, I think Chael's head just wasn't there. I think that he was able to talk a good game.
Yeah.
And he was able to, keep his mind enough to kind of speak and keep the jokes out. But when you're in the cage, it's no jokes.
There's nowhere to hide.
I mean? Yeah. So where you really are inside, if you're not all the way there, if you're not 100% in that moment, I think it's going to reflect in your performance. Once they hit that bell, and I think that's what happened.
But you're looking at a guy that forgive me for not having a chance. It's been. I literally left the house at 5 a.m. this morning, and
Danny's still wearing the same clothes he was doing his big speech, and he didn't dress up just for us.
He's looking sharp, though. I must say, brother, you look pretty pristine right now.
I walked right in the baby, trying to get a couple minutes with the baby, so I didn't get a chance to look this up. But we're talking about a guy that I do believe took silver at Worlds. I know he medaled at Worlds. I believe he took silver. I mean, he has an amazing power double that almost. I mean, it's been proven time and time again. I think the only person that he may not have taken down inside the cage was John Jones. And so this guy has a hell of a grappling pedigree. And to give up the choke at the very beginning like he did, and it was such a slow transition any old Chael would have hopped to the back, done ground and pound, not had any problem. And here he goes, he pulls tries to pull on a guillotine with no legs locked, tried to roll into it. It looked too suspect to me.
Well, yeah, first off, what's up, Ray and Kevin? Give us your feedback. I know you guys had to have watched that Tito Chael fight. So when he dropped back, the takedown didn't look that hard. But what I saw a little bit more was that this fight was, I don't want to say it was worked or anything like that, but I think they both took it almost as an exhibition. It wasn't, I'm fighting for the title. Tito knew he was on his way out. Chael's just taking this for fun. I think he's having fun with it. It's not in his title aspirations. And it looked like, honestly, when he went for this choke, he almost had it. Tito slipped out. And when Tito got a good position on him, I think Chael probably could have struggled a little bit more, but his heart wasn't in it. He wasn't willing to die out there.
If Ray Pagan is agreeing with me that the shit looks fixed, bro, that is one step away from the second. I tell you what, the motive.
Ray agreeing with Danny. I'd like to see
the motive is pretty easy. I think Tito. I think fucking Tito would have fixed the fight just to go out with a win. To be honest with you on the whole matter.
I did see Tito. People are talking about Tito tapping at some point during it, and I did see something while I was watching it live. I was like, "Whoa, is he?" Because he kind of did something. I think he was just kind of trying to flail and get the arms off and things like that. But a lot of people are like, "Oh, it looked like a tap." Some people are like, in wrestling, people will give cues to the other wrestler, like, "Okay, your turn. Go for the Hurricane Rana." But they're saying that's that. What I don't think that fighters need that. They spar all the time. They fight all the time. You don't need to tell me how to get out of this. You just loosen up, and the other person will get out of it. So I don't think you need to have this kind of elaborate, like, you do this, and then I'm going to do this. It's, I try to take you down. I'm going to try to fight you. If I almost finish you off, I'm going to loosen up. And so, I mean, I don't think they had anything to gain by Tito's retiring. I mean, this isn't like you're building up a star by having Chael lose. Tito lost.
I would beg to differ with you. I think there's a whole lot on Tito's end to get out of this, and the fact that, hey, guess what? How few people go out on a win. I mean that's everyone's dream, is to be able to go out on your own terms. So I think there's a huge incentive for Tito to do it. For Chael, hey man, make a quick fucking buck. And one thing, right, wrong, or indifferent, that I think that you can say about Chael is a guy that, and I don't mean this as an insult to his character, but Chael's a guy I think would throw a fight. Because Chael is from the standpoint of, this shit's entertainment. I mean,
I do like that about him.
He jumped on that bandwagon a long time ago. And when you look at it, he has no intention of being a world champion again. Or, shit, the reality is, he could take a dive in this fight, it's not like Bellator won't give him a title shot. You know what I mean? Shit, you know what I'm saying? So he can come out and say, "Oh yeah, I was just feeling low. I didn't have
I thought he tapped.
Now I'm serious, and I go into that fight."
Now, I don't know if any guys will watch this. I only saw this because I follow all the MMA videos that come out. But Chael was on the Celebrity Apprentice. I didn't know this. I don't even know how Celebrity Apprentice works now that Donald Trump's gone.
Don't even say his name. I don't feel like fucking people signing off.
Oh, no.
Oh, jeez. That was a false flag. We're not talking about the orange guy today. It'll be fine.
But Chael Sonnen was on the Celebrity Apprentice. I didn't know who any of the other celebrities were. But
Isn't that like a misnomer? It's always fucking people you don't know. I'm like, bro, I'm a bigger celebrity.
Yeah, it was hard to spot. They're like some random host from whatever. But the task was they had to finish a project. Chael Sonnen cut the computer cord, so they had technical difficulties, and their team had more time to think about the project.
Yeah, that's Chael.
Arnold Schwarzenegger said, "You were voted off the island. That's cheating. I won't have it in my boardroom." And Chael Sonnen, true to his form, the American gangster, was out there on Celebrity Apprentice trying to.
But he's cheated multiple times. By the way, if y'all think this is imperative knowledge for everyone to know, please like and share, get it out there. Tag your friends, annoy the fuck out of them. We don't care. But when you look at what happened, Chael got in trouble for mortgage fraud or some shit.
Yep, he's been in a lot of trouble over the years.
And he ran for like
the American gangster
or something. It was like
he has committed crimes in every facet of his life.
Yeah.
Okay. He was a real estate agent. Was committing money laundering type mortgage fraud.
Oh shit. Damn.
Now, I remember my first time on radio, Danny.
Dude, my mute ain't working, bro. My mute ain't working.
And I blame it on Chael. Chael went on Celebrity Apprentice, got kicked off for cheating. UFC kicked him out. As a politician, he got into trouble. So I just find it very funny that I usually take a hard line on cheating in the sport of MMA. I love how it's even for everybody. But Chael's gone so far the other way that it's comical, that it's entertainment. It's like, well, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. I was grabbing his shorts. I tried to fish hook him. I poked him in the eye a couple times.
I mean,
but
he doesn't mind at all. What was that movie that De Niro and Stallone did where they were old ass boxers trying to box again.
yeah.
Chael Sonnen let him beat his ass on that movie. So Chael has zero concern about the notion of taking an ass whooping in front of people. And I think Chael knows that he has an ability, if he wants to be able to come right back here and promo another fight, still get another good payday that of course he's not going to get in the UFC. But this guy, I go back to this over and over again. I'm telling you, Bellator cannot survive long term like that. Well, and I think when you look at it from the standpoint of, hey, they saw that UFC was sold for $4 billion. You know what? We can sell this shit and get out of the fight game anytime we want to and not have an issue.
Well, I mean, who do you think is closest to UFC?
I don't think there's nobody close. What I really think is going to happen with this industry, and again, what a lot of people don't grasp is that, there's more fucking Super Bowls. And Super Bowls weren't even at the start of the NFL. There's more Super Bowls, I think like double Super Bowls than there are UFC's been in existence. I mean, UFC just got the right to drink liquor if it was a person, okay? So, I mean, it's still going through. It's still a baby. It's still going through a lot of growth thing. I think what makes the most sense long term is I believe there are some times when you get such a stranglehold on the industry, you become such a monopoly that the reality is it's detrimental to the fighters. I know a lot of people talk about the fighters union and go, well, these guys can make all the money over here in Bellator, but the reality is Nike ain't fucking going to Bellator. Under Armour ain't going to Bellator. So these guys' abilities in that B-level promotion to get major league sponsors outside of the UFC, and it's not the walking into the ring in shorts. Guys, that's not what's fucking important. How many people, I mean, let's just be honest, how many people are sober enough to go check out your fucking website when they're watching fights? So you don't really see that. Where you really make your money is your ability to go outside and get on things like Boost T-Mobile, like Ronda did, like Kane did. When you want to go out and become a brand ambassador, I mean, fucking Conor McGregor was just in the Beats commercial. When you are looking at these major entities that have millions of dollars to pump at you, that's how you make money. When you're able to transcend the genre and move into other things, whether it be acting, though I don't necessarily agree with that for an active fighter, but you look what Conor did. Conor was very smart. I'm going to go out, and I guarantee you he had something worked in there where he gets a percentage of royalties for that game that he was on. Fuck, bro. I'll go out, I'll shoot 2-3 weeks of footage. I'll be it, and I'm in a video game, and I'll roll out from there.
So, I mean, we're covering a couple of subjects here, but Chael Sonnen is doing that. I mean, he's fighting. I think he's announcing with Bellator as well. He's doing, and we just saw Josh Jackson chiming in that he's replacing Hector Lombard in a submission-only grappling tournament. So
but
he's got a lot of ways to kind of go in
to those tournaments. And the reality is, I don't think, I'd like to see the paydays for those. I can't imagine that John
grappling.
Jones. Yeah, I can't.
He probably gets $10,000 for a grappling match. That's not bad.
I mean, not bad, but at the end of the day, the reality of those things, the grappling matches are for somebody like a John Jones that can't fight because he's a crackhead. They're for somebody like Dan Henderson, who's past his prime as a name. It's an easy payday. Fuck it, so what, I tap. No big deal. Whether I win, it's cool. I get to still kind of have that competitive juice and stoke. But where I was going with all of this on the front end in regards to Bellator is I think what you really want to ultimately see, and I know Brian Butler would love this, I know Shogun would love this, is that, listen, let's just have one real organization. You are not going to come in and remove the UFC from its stranglehold on that. Again, people ask you, they don't ask you, do you do MMA? They ask you, do you do UFC?
Yeah.
So that name is synonymous with the sport now. Let that be the only organization, and let these regional fights shows that provide an opportunity for guys like yourself to come in, get a real feeling of walking out in front of a packed stadium, make a little bit of money on it, but use those as farm leagues to build you up.
Well, I mean, that's what they're already doing. And so, but Bellator is doing something different. Bellator is not being the regional show, and it's not being the big guy. It's found a niche in there where it's the fighters the UFC either doesn't want anymore or retired that still have some sort of name value. Rory McDonald, they pulled him out of the UFC, and Ben Henderson. So fighters that have kind of gotten to that, they haven't beaten the champions, and they're kind of, knocking off all the other contenders. So those guys, they pick those up, build up their roster, and then they go from the bottom
But let
up
me
and then the top
explain to you
down where they bring in.
where I see the problem with that. Okay, when we talk about we want this sport to evolve and we want it to be we want it to be something where there's enough cards for fighters, there's enough watching for the fighters to be able to actually garner some following, to be able to make more money. If the UFC, and I'm not one for I'm normally not one that screams monopoly, but if the UFC had a full stranglehold on that, and you didn't have these different orgs where everybody would shoot off into it, and they're going to pull a few people away from the people that are watching the UFC, not a lot, but a few. Now all of a sudden you got these guys that they're taking away from the UFC's ability a little bit to be able to have a bunch of up-and-comers. Because the reality of what happens is, Venom Page, for example, as soon as that motherfucker's free, where is he going?
UFC.
But
If they want him.
But in my eyes, a regional circuit, what would be kind of cool, even though it wouldn't necessarily relate to it, is if we had a way that, kind of like the last UFC, the Ultimate Fighter they did, where all these regional circuits were able to produce champions. And if there was something that said, hey, listen, if you were at this caliber of a regional card, if you become a champion of Shogun Fights and you defend your belt one time, we're now going to give you a contract with the UFC. And then you build up from there.
Well, I mean, the level of organization to link all these regional shows is kind of an overwhelming concept. Now, Brian Butler, and we should probably get him out here or get him calling in soon about linking up amateur shows.
I just want Ray to know he's getting smarter. It's not a world record. He's talking free with me, so that's where that worked in, brother.
Yeah, I mean, linking up amateur shows to have a farm league. I mean, right now they're just all separate entities. They're doing their own thing. It's their own show.
I don't think you need to link them, though. I think it's one of those things that you look at the quality. I mean, let's look at it this way. Let's take the Dallas Cowboys, okay? You can look at that organization and let's take all of the I like this team, you like this team shit out of here for the purpose of this dissection. We can look at the Dallas Cowboys organization right now and say, you know what? This is a successful organization. They have a great depth of talent. They could very easily have been making a run for a championship. And so we know that any one of these players could go, well, for the most part, when we're talking about like the main people out there, the Jason Wittens, the Dax, the Elliots, we know these guys can go in to any team and compete for a starting roster easy, and also compete to be one of the best people in all of the NFL. Go to Cleveland Browns. They're shit.
Well, I mean,
So
are you
you can
comparing
look
the big teams to the good regional shows?
No, what I'm saying is that you can look at an organization and objectively say, okay, the guys that are fighting in this organization, these are talented guys. These guys, and I mean, think about it. You were on The Ultimate Fighter. How did they fucking do the first test to get y'all on the show? You hit pads and you fucking grappled. Well, anybody can tell you that if you have the right person holding pads, sometimes I look good hitting pads. Okay? So if you're able to look at that organization, take a span, just like somebody that does, like the NFL and college recruiters, they have film on everybody. Being able to sit down there and basically check off an organization that says this organization is a quality organization. If someone were to earn a championship in this org, then guess what? They're ready to come in and start filling these filler cards.
And that's what they're already doing. And in the same way, Bellator is kind of that one. As soon as somebody's contract expires with Bellator, I mean, you're looking at Bellator as one of the top organizations then, in terms of as soon as one of the top MVP, Michael Venom Page, as soon as his contract expires, the UFC is going to make a bid. They're going to say, hey, this guy's pretty interesting. People have started to like him for whatever reason. We want a piece of that. It's happened time and again. Eddie Alvarez moved over. Hector Lombard moved over.
But the problem with those organizations, in my opinion, is you look at a guy like Eddie. How much did we lose of that guy's career in the UFC? Because the reality is this: Eddie's best years, they've gone.
I mean, he was UFC champion, Bellator
Ah.
champion. Those are pretty good. He's got a champion in every organization.
Okay,
He's got a pretty good career.
And that's great. What would you rather? Okay, I'm gonna give you the option. Zach, you can be the champion of Bellator for 2-3 years, and you can get in a long and drawn out contract. And eventually, you can come into UFC where you're gonna probably get your ass beat by.
But who's?
You're gonna come back, you're gonna win, and then you know what? You're gonna get a title, and then Conor McGregor's gonna fuck.
So you're saying we should give Eddie Alvarez less options so that he gets a better
if Eddie
deal?
Alvarez, it's not less options. If you didn't have
Bellator.
if you didn't have this Bellator league, and again, I think, and at the end of the day, you can go do whatever you want to do. I mean, if you think that, hey, I'm going to go over here and make a couple extra bucks at Bellator, because that seems to make sense for me. Again, this is people, in my opinion, focusing on small, big money. Small, big money is, oh, shit, man, yeah, I'm going to make $30,000 a fight guaranteed in Bellator. They guarantee my contract. Yeah. As opposed to, I could go to UFC. Yes, I'm going to start off making $2,500 because I'm coming in as a filler in a farm league. But I have the ability to, if I go out there and do, i.e. what Conor McGregor did, knock everybody on their ass, talk a sweet game, and market myself, well, within fucking 3 years, I can be the highest paid athlete in the sport.
Well,
Do you want to bet on black? Do you want to bet on yourself? Or do you want the school lunch program?
And do you see
where they
that,
give you fucking
that
fish,
fighters
but
are
again-
choosing black and some choosing red?
Yeah.
I mean, many of the fighters aren't happy with the way that the UFC is structured, and they've moved over. So, I mean, I think having good options. I mean, Dameron, for you, I mean, you do all the local pro shows, and you figure out which one matches best for you at a given time. I mean, would you rather there be one show and not have to make the choice?
And I hope you understand what I mean with this. That's an apples to oranges comparison. When you look at, and we have great local regional shows. But
Shout
the
out to
reality-
Rollo and
when we look
Rob
at those
McGraw out
local
there.
regional shows, and this is what happens in the local regional shows, is you get the same guys. You go through your phases where those guys are maturing to go to the next level, or they don't do well at that level, and they say, hey, you know what, I gave it a fucking good college try, and I go out. But the guys that are fighting on Shogun are fighting in Strike Off, and when you go to the AMI levels, the guys that are fighting in fucking Delaware are fighting down in Virginia. So shit, by the time it's said and done, at least in this area, and I know we had this conversation with Rob where they talked about in California, fuck, the guys are fighting every week. So again, there's different strokes for different folks depending on where you are geographically in the United States or even the world. What I am getting at, though, is that is far, far different. And first of all, there's no blocking that. Strike Off isn't keeping him from fighting in Shogun, at least to my knowledge of, and Shogun isn't keeping you from fighting in Strike Off. So again, that's an apples to oranges comparison. But when you look at what happens is these guys go in, and they say, hey, well, you know what? I'll take that small big money. I'll take that $30K right here. But then again, they talk about it. By the time they have paid for their team, by the time they're flying them out there, the whole 9 yards, shit, some of these schools are taking all of their purse.
Yep.
Which to me, you need to get a fucking better school. But that's neither here nor there.
What's up, Reed? Good to hear from you. Glad to beat you in your fantasy football league. All right, we're just talking about the Chael and Tito fight. Now, we're always covering the business. I want to hear from you now. Tito Ortiz, he did his last gravedigger routine. He buried Chael Sonnen in the bottom of the mat. I want you guys to take a minute. Everybody, close your eyes. Think of your favorite Tito Ortiz, the Huntington Beach bad boy memory. What was the highlight of you that took Tito Ortiz? What do you got for me, Danny?
When Jenna Jameson kicked him out the house. Yeah! That's what you get for marrying a fucking porn star.
I think Jenna and him, I think it was all over TMZ. I never knew if it was a publicity stint or not. It was, she had cameras asking her what happened, and she said, I can't talk about it, but it was terrible. And
I'm just not
Tito was saying, I can't talk about it,
Actually,
but
let me
ask me
correct
more
myself.
questions.
Let me correct myself. My favorite Tito Ortiz moment is when Chuck Liddell fucking knocked it, just beat
That's
the
a good
brakes
one.
off his ass in the corner.
That's a good one.
That's my favorite Tito Ortiz moment.
All right, what do you got, Dameron? What sticks out to you? And guys, also let us know if you guys think of your favorite Tito Ortiz moment that happened out there.
I'll just say that the best thing I liked about Tito Ortiz is that he was actually one of the the first bad guys of MMA that turned into the popular good guy. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? He was one of the first, because, a lot of people, when he came out, people didn't like him, and he said, man, I don't care. Screw all y'all, I don't care. I'm the bad guy, whatever. And then over time, he kind of started winning more people over, got more popular, and, people had, started loving him
He was the pioneer of not hyping yourself up, but marketing yourself. He wasn't good.
He did a good job in the front end for the UFC. I mean, the reality was there are not many people that I say actively dodged a fighter. He fucking dodged Chuck Liddell like it was his job. He knew that he didn't have shit for Chuck.
I don't think anybody wanted to fight Chuck Liddell.
The worst way to promote yourself is to take a fight you know you're gonna lose.
Yeah.
And Tito knew he was gonna lose it. He said, you know what? It's more interesting for me to fight Randy Couture. But Randy Couture beat him up. So
I have that's another great moment when Randy spanked his ass like a 2-year-old in the ring. But
man, why you got such hater Tito memories?
Yeah, you don't like Tito, do you?
You know what's
We
odd
got an
about
anti-Tito
is I don't hate Tito. I'm not a giant fan of him. I'll 100% give credit to him for being a pioneer of sport. I'll 100% give credit to him for, he has done his part, I think, to try to help other fighters. My thing, I think, with Tito, when I look at Tito, and I could be 100% wrong with this, he just always struck me as the grimy business guy. And, I mean,
I don't even think it's that he was a grimy business guy. I think he was a grimy employee contractor. He was always complaining about what the UFC owed him. Dana White said he was the worst to work with.
But you know what's credit to Dana? You saw Dana texted his girlfriend, because his girlfriend was a former UFC ring girl, and he texted her and said, hey, congrats to Tito. If he deserved to go out on a win. A lot of people talk a ton of shit about
Man,
Dana.
I don't know how friendly that is, texting my girlfriend. I don't want no billionaire texting my girlfriend when I'm out there.
He said they talk all the time because she used to be a UFC ring girl. But, to me, I thought that show, a lot of folks give Dana a lot of shit. But Dana, I think, and I'm not like Dana. I admire Dana a lot. I am not as ruthless as he is. Some people have and he is one of them, that can easily separate business from emotion. I have a hard time doing that to some extent. I do. I guess being fired at one point in time will do that to you. But he legitimately, he is going to put that business first. But he will give you credit. He was like, listen, hey, fucking Tito, I think you're a fuckstick. But if you would like to be in the Hall of Fame, you have earned it. You deserved it. Be in the Hall of Fame. He sent Tito images of his face to put on his focus mitts because he thought that would help him get motivated.
It is an irrefutable fact. Tito belongs in the Hall of Fame. So for Tito not being in the Hall of Fame with this personal vendetta with Dana White is
well,
ridiculous.
Bro, there's a lot of people that when they have the power to say, fuck you, you're not coming in. You're not coming in.
Yeah, it's just a denial of what has actually happened in the organization. What's up, Nick Clark? I see you keep calling me out. I got you. You bring it, all right? But
ooh, good call, Sharif. The surprise KO of Ryan Bader.
That was the one time.
That was fine. That was the one time. See, Sharif, I speak up for the people. He wasn't even hire your call line because he wanted to do it.
All right, Sharif, that was mine.
That was the one time I cheered for Tito.
Exactly. That was when Tito finally turned. Because Tito, we saw him. He was a star. Then he was still a star, but he had lost a lot. He had disputes, and then he was still losing. It was just kind of tail end of his career, and he just kind of took that rather than heel turn, the hero turn, where he's on his way out, and they just put him with Ryan Bader to build up Ryan Bader. Let's put this old champion in there just to take a loss. And boom! Poor Ryan Bader
if
just
you're
dropped.
Ryan Bader, man. Like, Ryan Bader to me is a fucking Greek tragedy. Like seriously. He is a guy that has him and CB Dalloway. Both of them had this awesome wrestling pedigree. You thought that and when they won, they were doing it. They looked great. But you look at Ryan, right? Ryan came out the gate. Remember, before his trajectory hit John Jones, both were undefeated. Everybody was like, and he just got ass raped in the ring. And I think that, as a man, I think like if you get raped as a man, like you have a hard time like coming back and like feeling like a fucking man after that. And I think what John did to him.
I can imagine it. Probably.
We talk about this all the time. It's like, when you put two up-and-coming people against each other, you have to be careful in some ways. You may lose a star. For
You
the
go
rest
from
of
up
your
and
life.
coming to down and out
Yes,
real quick.
because this is very much. I mean, you talked about it earlier today. This is a fucking mental game, and if you don't have the mindset right when you go in there, like if you go like, yo, bro, I just got ass raped. Like, I mean, John Jones jumped over that fool, dude. I mean, that's some shit. Like, you just got daddy. You know what I mean when I say you got daddy? Daddy was like when you like, yo, I know some shit. I'm gonna grab my daddy's leg. He ain't gonna be ready for it. And then he picks you up by your bloomers and just kind of hangs you. Like, you're like, fuck, I can't beat my daddy. And then from that point on, no matter how big and strong you get, I just can't beat my daddy.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you look at Ryan Bader. They've tried. He keeps winning, and I guess he'll probably fight for a title sometime. But it just shows you how shallow that UFC 205 is. That Ryan Bader, the one who lost to Tito on his way out, was the next.
But he comes back and he's won fights, and again, that's why I talk about the MMA game. There's just so many ways to lose. I mean,
or ways to win. Stop being such a pessimist.
Fuck that. There's that many. When you have another person that's equally skilled, and listen, all they do all day is train to whoop ass, and they have a multitude of different ways to do it, and you throw on 4-ounce gloves, and you go, yo, hey, let's go in here and just fucking throw a punch and see how this works out. Man, again, it goes back to what we talk about on the personal defense side. When you say, hey, listen, the best martial arts is track and field. Because you don't know whether or not you're going to slip on that banana peel. You don't know if, like, Super Mario Kart's going to run by and hit you with a turtle shell and knock you down. But what happens is somewhere along that line, that fucking banana peel happens.
Yeah.
And you slip. And then that's what everybody's like, yo, I get to be like 37 and I start thinking about shit. No, bro, I fucking slipped on a lot of banana peels to get to 37, and all of a sudden you realize you're not invincible.
Yeah.
And so that's why when you get daddied like he got in the ring, it's so difficult to come back. Why I don't think you'll ever see Ronda come back.
We'll see. I mean, actually, Ronda, a lot of people are wondering.
She should come back.
I don't want to see it if she comes out like that. If she hasn't made a major change in it.
Well, you see her man. He
Travis Brown. He's leading. Yeah.
He's like, I just watched my old lady get her ass beat.
I don't know.
Help.
I'm curious how that dynamic is going between them two, because they got Ronda. Is she staying with Edmund and her man just left? I mean, I don't know how. You're like, hey, I think you're not a good enough coach for me to get where I'm going to be, but my wife's staying here, so I guess it'll be awkward.
To hell with that. Like, how do you feel though as like two pro fighters that just keep getting your ass whooped? Like, listen, I'm not. Bro,
it's usually, like with the couples, it's one up, one down.
Both of them can whoop my ass. All right, that's why I carry.
You look at the couples: Brian Caraway and Misha Tate.
Travis Brown did pretty good his last fight, though, didn't he?
No, I don't think he's won a fight. No, his last fight
Sharif.
was Doom.
No, it was no.
Wasn't it for Doom?
It was one of his last two fights he did. I don't
No,
remember.
bro.
I don't remember which one it was.
No, he isn't one.
Josh, we need a step boy.
He hasn't,
All right.
Yeah.
Travis Brown beat up.
He's fighting Lewis. He's gonna
I like Lewis.
Bro.
Dude, Lewis is one of my favorite because he looks kind of like a Roy Nelson. He looks kind of out of shape. He talks like he's half asleep all the time, and he brings some power. And he's actually gotten better.
You throw that belly, like when you got a big belly and you throw a big belly behind a punch, and you already a large man. I mean, that's how you get Debo.
If you ever want to see some of the good interviews, Derek Lewis is a great one. He says, yeah, I'll have a Big Mac before I go out, maybe one or two. And he hates I don't know, he's just complaining about the leg room on his flights to Croatia. And he's just a character. I hope he keeps fighting these big fights. I'd like to see him versus a Mark Hunt or something like that. Lost
his last two to Verdum and Kane. I knew. I was looking it up on Sherdog. I appreciate that, Sharif. But I knew, man, he's
Beast.
He's had the brakes beat off him the last few times. Listen, and the thing about him, I forget who he was fighting that he got cocky, and I was so happy he got his ass knocked out. Because I don't like that shit, man. Like if you can knock somebody out, go ahead and do it.
You talking about who? Who did that?
Travis Brown. He did somebody. They caught him and he did the stanky leg, and then that was the end of it. But he was either way you look at it. Travis Brown left. Rhonda, if she is ever going to consider it again, I don't know if it's possible for you to go back to amateurs
No, it's
and
not.
build that shit back up. After
You need to
made
get a
like
fake
big
ID if
thing.
you want to go back to amateur.
Well, I'm Rouser Rondi. What? Who?
I think at this point it doesn't benefit her to come back. I think that, mentally after that first loss, I think that she put so much on being a champion. It's that she didn't learn how to lose. And when you don't know how to lose, when you actually lose, then you no longer know how to win because you don't have the mindset to get back there because you don't know how to lose and learn and come back better.
I think there's some truth to that. I also think there is a viciousness to the ass whooping that you that you take. I mean, she didn't get broke. She looked like a bull fighting a matador against Holly Holm, and then she looked like a depressed 2-year-old that got put in timeout after friggin' after I went to say my man. After Amanda Nunes.
Man.
The bad thing about the Amanda fight is she it wasn't that she got rocked or anything. It was that she got rocked from the first jab of the fight.
Well,
and it wasn't like she was moving and it wasn't anything slick. Her hands were here, right down the pipe, no reaction, deer in the headlights.
Everybody figured her out. Clearly, I don't think it's any clue.
But at that level,
that she doesn't have a boxing coach. I mean, she does, but she doesn't. Let's be real about life.
But that's the only thing Edmund ever does with her is that he's her boxing coach. He's not a judo. He's not an MMA coach.
Yeah, I know. So people figured out that if you don't let her get her hands on you to put in her judo and her jits, then she has nothing else for you. And I think that Holmes exposed that.
I still
and
say
she would
that
have to
judo
go.
is just a horrible base for mixed martial arts. It's base. Understand what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
I'm not saying it's a horrible art, but I mean it's just like Greco-Roman. If you have the ability to tie up there and you can throw from the standing position, congratulations.
She got to get there.
Exactly. Even high-level kickboxers. Let's look at this. How fucking often do you see the clinch utilized in the UFC?
Yeah, I mean,
Other than that, no, seriously, think about it. Other than Anderson Silva, what's his name was the last person that put on a clinch clinic, and that was friggin'
Matt
Demetrius.
Brown? Demetrius
Johnson. You don't see the clinch use at this stage.
You know what it is that both sides are using it, and nobody's dominating it.
But
So you need to have, not only do you have to be excellent, you need the other person to not be that good to really
Which means
see
that
where
to be excellent, you had to put the bulk of your time into being judo. And what you're seeing there's a reason why when they say wrestling is the best base to have in mixed martial arts, they did not imply Greco-Roman. If they were going to say Greco-Roman, then they would go, Greco-Roman is the best. No, they said wrestling. Why? Because even if you have somebody that is a better striker than you, if you have a solid takedown, and you mix it well a la GSP, who wasn't even a wrestler, but who perfected wrestling for MMA, where he set up the takedowns from the strikes. What you see now is a lot of guys that have the strong wrestling base. They're shooting that double or that single, and they're not even throwing a fucking punch.
Yeah.
But if you look at it and it's set up,
I'll tell you why wrestling has been so dominant. It's not necessarily that it's better or worse. It's because wrestling has your wrestling matches every weekend. And if you're a lifetime wrestler from the time you're 5 until the time you have your UFC fights, you're wrestling on the weekends and wrestling every day. Whereas a lot of other martial arts, the amount of active competition you have is a lot less. You think about Muay Thai fighters, okay? The most experienced amateur Muay Thai guys get 10 to 20 fights. And I mean, occasionally you get someone different, but you look out there, the very active guys aren't competing every weekend because the sport, you can't even do it. What happens is you start to get better at competing by doing it. I think this is what happened with Wonder Boy. If you guys watch Wonder Boy, he's actually someone who's getting his karate style to work, his kickboxing to work. And it's because he has hundreds of matches. He has high-level experience over a long period of time. So wrestlers have had that advantage, whereas a lot of other martial arts, we train in the dojo, and yeah, I did 3 fights.
I think what you said is true to a point, but I'm going to agree with Sharif in this, is that there's 2 reasons, in my opinion, why wrestling is the best base. One of those reasons is wrapped up in what you talked about, but I don't necessarily put the competition as the main aspect of it.
You don't think boxers are mentally strong? I mean,
not compared to wrestling. I mean, listen, I know you wrestled, and I'm not talking about I wrestled, okay? I'm not fucking talking about you wrestled. I mean, I actually hold the first pin in my school's history. That's how new wrestling was when I wrestled. But what you see with these guys that are coming out, and when I say a wrestling base, I don't mean you fucking took wrestling camp. I mean you competed either at a high collegiate level or you competed at the world level or the Olympic level in wrestling. So you have that base. But what comes out of that base is that there is no other sport. And when I said that, I look at it like this. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is much more of a technique-based art than wrestling. Wrestling, there's technique. I'm not saying that there's not. Please don't
say it to a wrestler, but I know what you're saying.
It is still, at the end of the day, technique coupled with brute force. And I am going to bulldoze you. And what you have is you have two fucking bulldozers that hit each other. That, yes, they're using technique, but this is nonstop. Bro, I can't even put my back on the mat for a second. For a fucking second.
It's over. What?
Man, I was rolling to the other side, man. When you have that type of fight mentality to you, I don't think from a standpoint of mental toughness and heart, you think about it.
Yeah, I always explain this to people, was that in wrestling, it requires the most conditioning of any sport. Because we always were there with the basketball team, the volleyball team, and we were always working harder than everybody else. Their game is 60 minutes. Ours is 6 minutes long, and you get 2 breaks.
Yeah.
And it's like, not only is our entire sport that's the most exhausting possible only 6 minutes long, but you need to take two breaks in the middle of it.
And what's more important is, try. I beg you to try. Try holding 4, 5, 6-year-olds in basketball, football, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at the same wrestling practice that you would have with wrestlers. Parents would be like, they're killing the kids. They're killing them. Stop. So they have that mentality of hard work drilled into them. If they're going to make it to that level, they're doing it as a young
Master
type.
Mike always had a great point. He said, if you put a wrestling coach in charge of Guantanamo Bay, we would have all sorts of issues with torturing our war criminals. He said, you can't do that to anybody.
It is a sport that is uncomfortable from fucking go. And you're sitting down here, you're like, yo, let me put my forehead, the hardest part of my skull, into your nose till I can rupture that shit. So you have
that's just the setup.
Yeah, you have people that are coming from that standpoint. So you have that. And the second reason that it is the best base is that it offers, by far and large, and there's always the exception to the rule, it offers you the lowest probability of risk and the highest probability of reward for you to be able to shoot that far out double if you have a good power double or a good single leg. And you're starting to see now, at least maybe it just has happened recently, where people are starting to just grab that one leg and then just do the yank down, and they just pull them right down on it. And it's such a high-level thing. If you look at what happened when Randy Couture, and to me the sums it all up, is when Randy Couture fought James Toney, and he shot that fucking ankle pick from across the cage and just picked him up and dropped him on the head. That's why wrestling does the best. It's a combination of you have the mentally strongest people in there that are used to being really, really fucking uncomfortable. And then they have the highest rate of success with the lowest probability of getting jacked up on that double leg or single leg takedown. It sets you up to be success in that.
Yeah, I mean, the wrestlers have shown their dominance. They've done well. I think, and honestly, a lot of people talk about Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather. If you ever had an MMA match, it would just see James Toney versus Randy Couture. I mean, he could just dive for his ankle. Not saying that Conor McGregor would do that, but it's that easy for a wrestler to win a boxing match. There's no this argument that people have, like, well, the boxer would do this, the boxer would do that. No, a wrestler against a boxer playing boxer.
Boxers have the natural wide stance, most of them. They come in. But
grab
listen, before we go, because we're at 10 minutes, I do want to talk about when wrestling goes wrong.
When wrestling goes wrong.
Everybody saw when Syntex Stunned my man, and my man went for, you know, a couple times.
Semtex, that's Paul Daly. He was just before Tito Ortiz and Chelsea.
He killed the guy. That dude should never fight again.
It was bad.
And you see that where that dude threw that flying in. I was like, oh yeah, you know, you got knocked out. But then you saw it. It looked like shit.
Check the Two Fools on Stools page for the cut. Danny posted it up. It was actually probably about as bad a cut since the winner of our Goriest Cut Award, Marvin Eastman versus Vitor Belfort. That thing looked like someone had taken a pickaxe.
Leave it to Cleaver, Beaver. I mean, that shit was.
But okay, so this is when we're talking about Bellator and its role. Paul Daly was somebody who got banished from the UFC. I mean, isn't it good that there are other options?
Paul Daly should have had his ass banished from fighting forever. I really do believe that.
I think the punishment more than fit the crime. I mean, he took a late shot on Josh Koscheck and is banished from the UFC forever.
I mean, I think at some point in time you have to have.
Well, that wasn't the first time, though.
Well, I mean, for him it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it's certain things. I think that honestly, this sport has come a long way in 21 years to get the feeling of human cockfighting removed from it. You have to have a zero tolerance policy for that type of stuff. So,
Well,
go ahead. I feel in between, you know, with that. I agree with both because, you know, on the back of what Danny just said, I literally, and I'm not going to put any names out there because I don't know if they're watching or they're yelling at me or whatever, man. But, you know, I just got into a altercation with someone because basically they were like, you know, MMA is just violence. That's all it is. It's just violence. And I was like, okay, well, yeah, MMA, you know, has aspects of violence, but it's so much more than violence if you know what you're looking at. And you just have to understand. It's kind of like, you know, and my argument with, and they just weren't hearing any of it. Now, you know, so I, you know, and this is someone that had never done MMA before in their life. They never trained. They didn't understand it, like nothing. So I was like, well, what do you do? And I was like, that's just like you telling me what you do. I have no idea about what you do for a living except that I've just seen it, and then I go, well, yeah, that's just stupid.
That's just taking people's money.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you gotta understand that. So we're still fighting that. You know what I mean? So I can kind of
the pussification of man is almost complete here in the United States. I mean, you know, I'm like, I'm almost at this point, and I don't care if she is. I could care less if somebody's gay, but I'm almost like my daughter's not going to have a choice but to be fucking gay by the time she grows up, because there ain't going to be any men left. So I mean, whether she decides to like women or decides to just like really girly ass men, either way you look at it, someone's probably coming through my door in a fucking tutu. But you know, when you sit down and you look at what goes on in there, it's like people say that shit, and I'm like, bro. One, you really are just a pansy. I mean, that's where it starts on the front end. But there are a lot of things that are just violent. I mean, not basketball. That's just bitch made all the way around. If you can get violent,
the world is violent.
But I mean, Green Berets are violent. Navy SEALs are violent. Army guys are violent. I mean, I don't see any fucking problem. Cops are violent if you're getting your ass beat. They come beat the guy's ass, beat your ass. I don't see you complaining then. So a lot of people just put that, you know, they put their own blinders on how they see the world, and they talk shit about something that they don't understand. But it is an art. You know, we had a whole conversation about Meryl Streep. I have been waiting for 3 years to be able to get back into doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. My plan was to start this week because my back is finally healed and ready to go, and then Zach's clumsy ass broke his own toe.
I know. Check the boot, guys. Boom.
Are you already in a boot, bro?
I got bionic foot.
Listen, when Zach came out to
get me... this shit was just taped the other day. Now it's in a boot.
The thing almost fell off, Danny.
When Zach walked out today and I saw him limping, I was like, man, Zach is just too cool for school. Because I just
saw a little swag.
A little swag, you know, and then I saw this.
I am actually too cool for school. That's why I'm no longer in school. Yeah, no, I busted my big toe pretty bad. I mean, I do remember actually explaining this about MMA. I've had to do it many times. First was to my own mother. She didn't understand Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so every time we ended up on the ground, she thought I was getting murdered.
Why is that man hugging you?
My mom was running from the stands to try and save my life. Luckily, I was actually better off my back, so
one shot.
I was always better off my back And so I would usually win.
With your legs wide open in the guard position. You are pretty good damn good.
How did you win while you were being raped, Zach? How did you get him to submit?
You're so good at getting men to strangle with them, wrapped your leg around your leg. That's awesome. That's great.
I had another whole debate with a guy who said he kept asking me. He was like, I told him I did MMA, and then he kept asking me about my family life. He was like, are you close with your father? And I said, yeah. Your mother around? Yeah. And he's like, you get along with them? And I said, yeah, but like probably the happiest family life you've ever seen. And he just kept like looking at me, trying to figure me out, like it was talking to Dr. Phil. And it was in the weight room, so I had to kind of stay there because I was still working out. Yeah. And I was like, man, just because I'm competing in an athletic contest, there's all of a sudden there's got to be some sort of problem with you.
You know what I found helps is you offer to them some KY jelly. Because you're like, we're going to do Greco-Roman wrestling. You're going to need
You're going to apply liberally.
We don't want to rub that.
Yeah.
It's real bad.
It'll be worse if you don't use it.
Yeah, you just use the KY.
Yeah, I've actually had people, ask me, it's like, oh, you fight? It was like, so, like, have you ever, you had like a bad temper? Like, have you ever like hit a woman? Like, have you like they think that, like I'm like a woman beater or I like have no temper because I fight competitively, and I'm like, if you really
I'm too tired to be fucking angry.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, all my
energy.
energy is gone. I'm not fighting anybody, after,
Well,
like,
the fact that you've done plenty to prove yourself when you're training. There's no need to prove it on some twerp who's cutting you off in traffic. So, it's a fun discussion to have regularly, but it's something we're battling as a sport. And slowly, my favorite thing though is now that's at least a question. People are like, why are people doing MMA? And for Meryl Streep to announce MMA in the same conversation with the NFL at the Golden Globes, that's, I think, the high water mark so far for the UFC. To be lumped in with the Golden Globes and NFL in one sentence.
Well, guys, as we always are debate amongst ourselves, do we have enough to talk about? An hour has already went by. If you want to recommend us for an Emmy for Best Sports Talk Show, by all means, I would just write that shit in. We're not on the ballot yet.
Nominated.
No, they didn't nominate us, but you could nominate us because you're our friends. So we do appreciate y'all turning the Garage Bar Radio. We will start having everything up on Stitcher and on iTunes. Actually, this will be the first show that we'll get back up there on there. So make sure you put it out there. That way you can listen to us on your drive at home. And we will start adding everything back to YouTube. So you're going to be able to see us on multiple different venues. Please feel free to like and share the page. Tell everybody about it because you know what? We too want to be millionaires. We appreciate you tuning in, guys.
Night, guys.
April 8th, watch the Bruiser.